All right, we are live. You ready to go?
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our very first virtual community meeting with the Housing and Community Development Department. I'm Haley Banerjee. I'm the director of the Athens-Clarke County Housing and Community Development Department. This is the FY22 CDBG application release meeting. So we are doing a live event right now. So for everyone who is actually participating in this meeting in real time, you can submit questions through the chat or Q&A feature. If you are viewing this on YouTube at a later date, you are able to contact our staff, which we'll go over our staff contacts in a moment. So I'm going to move us through. Our agenda for today is to review our consolidated plan, present goals and objectives related to CDBG funding, review the CDBG application, our CDBG CV application and deadlines, our decision-making schedule, our staff contacts, and any questions. So we will be answering questions throughout the presentation, so don't feel like you need to hold a question until the end. We'll try to be monitoring our Q&A and chat boxes. And we do have our HCD staff on the call with us today in our panelist mode, so hopefully you can see them up at the top. So again, I'm Haley Banerjee, I'm the director. We have Joanne Selgin, our community development administrator. We have Chastity Young, our program support analyst. We have Santerica Davis, our administrative assistant. We have Sarah Shropshire, our community development coordinator. We have Paisley Stewart, our community development specialist. We have Marquita Swain, our housing and community development coordinator. And we have Melinda Lord, our community development specialist. And now I'm going to turn it over to Melinda, who will be conducting our presentation today.
Good morning, everyone. I am glad that you were able to join us, and hopefully you will get some very useful information when attempting to apply for your CDBG and CDBG CV funding this year. Our mission statement for HCD is the Housing and Community Development Department provides funding for the creation and rehab of affordable housing, fosters and coordinates services for disadvantaged populations, and promotes economic mobility among residents of Athens-Clarke County. Our consolidated plan strategic planning process was a is a five-year plan with goals, a strategic plan, and an annual action plan for the use of CDBG, home, and homeless assistance funds. And our funding will be available July 1st, 2021. Our consolidated plan supports safe, stable, and affordable housing, expanded economic opportunities, suitable living environment for persons of low and moderate income. And CDBG is based on Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974. The citizen participation process in May 2019, 7 community meetings took place to identify community resources and concerns for housing and community needs. In July, citizen participation committees reviewed the goals. In August, mayor and commission reviewed the goals and objectives. And in September, our mayor and commission approved those goals. And all of these citizen participation committee reviews, we had 87 people that attended those meetings. The CDBG funding for July 1st, 2021.
Melinda, it seems like the slides are not changing through the presentation through the shared screen. Santerica, you may need to share your screen. Maybe that's the issue.
Apologize for the technical difficulties.
Thanks, Heather.
I'm sorry, which one are we on? I can move it.
Slide 7.
Okay.
Is everyone able to see those now?
Thank you.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so next slide. The CDBG funding for July 1st, 2021, which is the FY22 grant year, is approximately $1,372,611. That's broken up into 20% administrative funding, 15% public services cap, and 65% for affordable housing, economic development, public facilities, and improvements projects. 15% is a public service cap that is established by the federal government, and we are not able to change that. So those funds are limited. Next slide, please. Our CDBG CV funding for July 1st, 2021, that is the FY22 grant year, and it is round one, is $829,383. 20% of that is for HCD administration, and 80% of that is public service activities. Next slide, please. The consolidated plan goals. Goal number 1 is affordable housing development and redevelopment. The goal is to increase the amount of affordable housing for low and moderate income Athens-Clarke County residents and to provide access to services that help households access and maintain affordable housing. If you wish to apply for affordable housing, you can contact Marquita Swain or myself, and we will be happy to provide technical assistance to you. Next slide. Goal 2 is economic development and workforce development. It is to promote the upward economic mobility of low and moderate income Athens-Clarke County residents through small business, entrepreneurship, and workforce development support. If you plan to apply for economic development, you would once again reach out to Marquita Swain or myself, and this is a requirement for any economic development application. So once again, if you do plan to apply for economic development, you must reach out to one of us and receive technical assistance before you can apply. Next slide. Goal 3, education and enrichment. This is to support the educational development and growth of children in Athens-Clarke County through educational, enrichment, and supportive services. If you plan to apply for a public service application, you would contact Joanne Selgin, Sarah Shropshire, or Paisley Stewart for assistance. Next slide. Goal 4, homeless services. To prevent and end homelessness through emergency shelter, permanent housing, prevention, street outreach, and other homeless services. Once again, if you are planning to apply for this public service, you would contact Joanne Selgin, Sarah Shropshire, or Paisley Stewart for technical assistance. Goal 5, special populations. To enhance the quality of life for individuals with mental illness, individuals with a substance abuse or use disorder, individuals with disabilities, individuals who are formerly incarcerated, and seniors. You can contact Joanne Selgin, Sarah Shropshire, or Paisley Stewart for this public services activity. And Goal 6, public infrastructure. To foster public infrastructure improvements that improve the lives of low and moderate income residents in Athens-Clarke County. If you are going to apply for a public facilities and improvement application, you must speak with Joanne Selgin no later than Friday, November 13th, 2020. This is a mandatory technical assistance meeting if you do plan to apply for public infrastructure. Eligibility. The application instructions provide detailed guidance for HCD con-plan goals, activities, and national objectives that are eligible for funding. We highly encourage you to reference it or ask HCD for guidance to ensure your proposal meets the necessary criteria. If your program does not address a consolidated plan goal, your program is not eligible for CDBG funding. If your application is missing any of the required information or attachments, your program is not eligible for CDBG funding. So please reference the application instructions, seek assistance and technical assistance from staff. Please make sure that your program meets a con-plan goal and a national objective, and please make sure that all attachments and all parts of the application are completed and submitted. Next slide, please. The Athens-Clarke County Community Development Block Grant is available from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. That is grant FY22. Grant funding is distributed on a reimbursable basis. Final funding decisions are made by the mayor and commissioner. So we have a vision committee, us, and then the mayor and commissioner make the final decision. Next slide, please. Intent to apply. If you are considering submitting a CDBG or a CDBG CV application for funding, please complete the CDBG Notice of Intent, the NOI, to apply. The CDBG Notice of Intent to Apply form is required, and it's due to HCD no later than October 30th, 2020 by 4:30 p.m. Completing this form assists HCD in planning our technical assistance program that ends November 13th, 2020. HCD cannot guarantee staff availability after that date. We will try, but we cannot promise. The CDBG application is made up of different sections. Key components to that application are the proposal cover sheet, a timeliness section, consolidated plan goals and national objectives, project narrative, outcomes and performance measurements, community involvement and collaboration, organization and staff ability, financial ability, budget forms, board of directors lists. If you are applying for housing counseling, that is a supplemental application you will need to complete and submit. And there is a checklist at the end that helps you make sure that not only have you completed all of these key components, but that you have all of the required attachments as well. Next slide. Required certifications for CDBG. You must sign the conflict of interest document, which is a part of the application. You must sign the good standing with Athens-Clarke County. You must sign the drug-free workplace, anti-lobbying, and the Section 3. Please understand that you must be in good standing with Athens-Clarke County in order to be eligible for CDBG funding. Next slide. And the required attachments, we do have an extra document as an attachment of outcomes and measurements. This is a part of your application, but if you have more than the goals or more than 4 goals that you can fit into the application, you are able to fill out this attachment document to add more goals. You are required to submit your MOUs, MOAs, or your letters of support, IRS forms 990s, your federal tax exemption determination letter, your budget document, and please note that for affordable housing and economic development applications, this is an attachment this year. It's not a part of the actual application. So make sure that you do not miss downloading that document and completing it for your budget. And also your final statement and your most recent audit. The challenge grant guidelines for public services. The minimum grant award for this application is $10,000. You are required to have a 50% match. Agencies applying for homeless services funding must participate in the Athens Homeless Coordinated Entry System. This is a HUD requirement. Agencies applying for homeless services must participate in the Local Homeless Management Information System, the HMIS, a federally mandated homelessness reporting system. And renewal funding will be contingent upon annual assessment of performance and expenditures. The CDBG application rating criteria is 100 total points, broken down into 30 points for the project narrative, 20 points for the outcomes and performance measurements, 10 points for your community involvement and collaboration, 20 points for organization and staff ability, and 20 points for financial ability. In your project narrative, please use data to support the need for your proposed program. There's a great need for services in the county, but CDBG funding is limited. So it is vital that you bolster your application with facts that support the need for your program. There are many local assessments and plans, including Envision Athens, Athens Wellbeing Project. There's school data, and there's also internal data that we encourage you to use. Clearly describe how your project addresses a consolidated plan goal. Don't hesitate to contact staff if you need clarification of these goals and objectives. We are happy to assist you with that. Address all parts of the project narrative application question. After reading your application, HCD staff wants to understand how your project will be carried out from start to finish. So we need to know the start date, end date, your target population, how your participants are identified, services that are offered, frequency of service delivery, and how many individuals will be served. Performance measures and outcomes. Defining those measures is a two-step approach. You want to specify your performance target area. You want to define a level of performance within that area. And you want to be SMART, which means your goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. HCD staff can help you assist in performance measurement formulation during the technical assistance period. Understand, we can give you ideas. We cannot create them for you, but we are happy to help guide you. And this is an example of outputs versus outcomes. Outputs are the measurements of services provided and the completion of services prescribed. The outcome actually demonstrates the benefits to those receiving the services. It tells what that impact is, that measurable change occurring in organizations, communities, and systems as a result of the services you are providing. So please understand the difference. There are examples in the instruction manual, so you may reference that. It can be very helpful to you. Provide outcomes, positive outcomes. 75% of individuals in emergency shelter will obtain safe, permanent housing within 90 days of program intake. A bad example would be 50 clients will receive bus passes. Another good example is 80% of students will pass the GED exam in one of the 4 content areas in 6 months. A third example is 60% of financial literacy class participants will improve their credit score, whereas a negative is 10 individuals will attend job training. You're not telling us an outcome, so please be careful in making sure that you're providing us outcomes, not outputs in that section. Next. Organizational ability and project management. You want to focus on your organization's experience in managing federal, state, and local grant funds, because managing a federally funded program is very time-consuming for administration, for finance, and for reporting those activities. So we want to make sure that you have the ability to manage these funds successfully. If your agency is currently providing, this is an example, if your agency is currently providing a meal delivery service for older adults, but your application is proposing a new group therapy program, you need to explain clearly how that organization plans to carry out the proposed activity. For example, staff member is a licensed mental health professional and has 3 years of experience providing group and individual therapy to older adults. You want to describe your organization and your staff's ability to carry out those proposed programs.
I just wanted to say there is a question in the chat about, can one organization apply in more than one category? If you guys wanted to type it in there or answer it.
I will answer it out loud. Someone is welcome to type that in the answer response. An agency is allowed to apply for multiple grants. You just must submit different grants. So if you plan to apply for 2 economic development programs, we expect to see 2 economic development applications. If you want to apply for public services, economic development, and affordable housing, that is fine, but you must use 3 separate applications. So do not put multiple programs on one application. Make sure that you break those up into separate entities. Okay. Hopefully that answered the question. If not, please resubmit and I will try to be more clear. For your budget, you want to make sure that this is the best place to start when you are in the process of writing your CDBG application. So start with your budget. If you want to make sure that it does not include ineligible line items, and you want to make sure that stipends are not included. They're not eligible, so please do not put them in there. And if you include ineligible line items, your CDBG application could possibly be disqualified. We don't want that, so please do not do that. Please be mindful that there are the administrative activities and costs can be no more than 20% of your CDBG total budget. And budgets and performance measures must be appropriate and realistic. Please do not hesitate to contact HCD for technical assistance. We are happy to help guide you in this. Next slide. Application tips. Please, please, please do not convert this application to a different format. Right now it is in a PDF writable layout for completion and submission. Do not convert it to Word or any other format. Please maintain the PDF format, submit it in the PDF format. We will provide a link for a free PDF download if you do not have that on your computer. Once again, it's free, so you can download this and it will make it very simple to apply for this application. Housing counseling and job training are public service activities. They are not affordable housing or economic development activities. If you plan to apply for either one of those, please use the public services application. If you have a micro enterprise concept, you must talk to Marquita or myself first. That is an economic development application, and that requires technical assistance. Economic development projects require job creation in a for-profit company. So if you plan to apply and you are a for-profit company, there is a job creation component attached to that. CDBG activities must meet a national objective and HCD consolidated plan goal, or they are not eligible. And you should include leveraging funds for affordable housing and economic development project applications. And once again, a reminder that if you plan to apply for public facilities and economic development projects, you must receive technical assistance before submission. Next slide. The CDBG CV application. There will be $663,506 awarded to eligible public services activities that are used specifically for the prevention of, preparation for, or the response to the coronavirus. HCD is highly encouraging Athens-Clarke countywide activities in the following 2 categories: rental and mortgage assistance programs and homeless assistance programs. CDBG CV eligible activities include the rental and mortgage assistance activities, which include financial assistance paid directly to the landlord, bank, or utility company for LMI clientele who have been financially impacted by the coronavirus. No direct payments to clients are made with these funds. Homeless assistance activities are resources and financial assistance for qualifying expenses to LMI clientele who are at risk of or have recently become homeless due to the coronavirus. And public services activities. All CDBG eligible public services activities are eligible, but they must be related to the prevention of, preparation for, or response to the coronavirus. Ineligible CV activities include any activity that's not directly related to the prevention of, preparation for, or response to the coronavirus. That is a running theme, but we want to make sure that that is very clear. There's a distinct difference between eligibility for CDBG public services applications and CV public services applications. CV must be directly related to the coronavirus. Reimbursement for expenses that have already been accrued other than rental and mortgage assistance is an ineligible activity. You cannot provide income payments. You cannot supplant or substitute expenses currently paid for by other sources. In other words, no duplication of benefits. If they've already received assistance, you are not able to provide that same duplicative assistance. And political activities or lobbying are not eligible. Purchase of equipment specifically for construction, but also including fire protection equipment, furnishings, and personal properties. These are the same criteria for CDBG, but we just wanted to highlight specific ones for CV as well. Next slide, please. Once again, duplication of assistance is not allowed with CDBG CV funding. If you are currently operating an assistance program, it is vital that you not serve applicants the same type of assistance with other funding sources, including CARES, indigent services, CDBG funds, or donations. If someone seeking assistance has received partial services with other funding, but still needs help, your program may only provide the balance remaining. So you can do that gap assistance. But it is imperative for all programs receiving CDBG CV to practice due diligence to prevent duplication of assistance. And I'll pause here real quick just to make sure that we don't have any questions. Okay, it's been answered. All right, next slide, please.
Actually, we got another one. It says operating and maintenance expenses. What about for sheltering people displaced due to lost income due to CV?
Haley, I'll let you address that, please.
So I think this question would be a homeless shelter who's experiencing operating or maintenance expenses needs to provide some kind of operating repairs, maybe to a shelter structure. For the CV funds, that would be ineligible, but for regular CDBG, that would be permissible.
Okay. The FY22 CDBG schedule, this is also applicable to the CDBG CV schedule. The notice of intents are due by October 30th, 2020 at 4:30 p.m. Those can be emailed to Santerica Davis. That guidance will be on the HCD website. Applications are due November 19th, 2020 at 4:30 p.m. Please make sure that you get those to us by 4:30. We will not accept any applications after the 4:30 p.m. deadline. That is a hard and fast deadline. Vision Committee meeting will take place January 13th, 2021. Mayor and Commission work session will occur on February 9th, 2021. The CDBG CV recipients selected will be February of 2021. And the CDBG CV contracts will begin March 1st, 2021. The agenda setting meeting takes place March 16th, 2021. Mayor and Commission meeting takes place April 6th, 2021. The action plan is due to HUD, and that's from HCD. That is due May 15th, 2021. We will initiate contracting dependent upon HUD notification of CDBG and home funding allocations, hopefully around May of 2021, and funding should be available starting July 1st, 2021. Once again, technical assistance, you can contact staff through email or you can call at 706-613-3155. We do man our phones even if we are not in the physical office. Affordable housing, economic development projects, you can contact Marquita Swain or you can contact me, Melinda Lord. Public facilities and improvements applications, you must contact Joanne by November 13th, please. That is a very strong deadline. Public services applications, please contact Joanne Selchin, Sarah Shropshire, and Paisley Stewart. They can provide you the guidance that you need. And that is it for the formal presentation, but we can now open it up to questions. If you would like to put those in the Q&A or the chat section, then we can try to address them now.
All right, I have one. It says, I see when CDBG CV recipients are selected, but what about regular CDBG recipient notification?
Okay, on the CDBG schedule, the mayor and commission meeting, April 6, 2021, that is the voting session, and that is when the final determination for regular CDBG funding is made. If you do not watch the mayor commission meeting on April 6th, we will notify you by email within the next 24 to 48 hours that you have been awarded funding and the amount that you've been awarded.
And how much funding is available for non-CDBG CV programs? Gee whiz, those are a lot of letters.
For non-CV funds? I'm sorry, did you say CV or non-CV?
Yes, for non-CV funds. Non-CV programs, sorry.
Okay, hold on one second. Sorry, I'm trying to tell you. If you could go back to slide 7, please. Okay, so on slide 7, it breaks down the approximate amounts that are going to be available. I can actually tell you real quick. I apologize if you don't mind me doing a little math. 65%. So approximately $892,197 will be available for affordable housing, economic development, and public facilities and improvements projects. 137. And approximately $205,892 will be available for public services projects.
And we will post the application, all of them, to our website after the meeting. It'll probably be around noonish. That was one of the questions as well.
Okay.
When is the, okay, I can't say CDBG CV. So I'll say, when is the CV application due? Same as the regular one.
Correct. All applications are due at on the same day. What slide was that? November 19th, I believe. Is that the date?
Let's see.
Pardon. My apologies. We're flipping slides.
Here we go. The schedule.
Okay. So all applications, CDBG and CDBG CV applications are due November 19th, 2020 by 4:30 p.m. So although they will run on a little bit different schedules once awarded, the process of application and submission is the same for both and for all.
Did you mention that for-profit entities could apply for, I'm assuming they mean the CV grant funds, or would it be best for nonprofits to apply for CDBG grants?
Haley, I'll let you address that.
I'm sorry, I think I missed that question. I'm trying to Q&A and chat box.
I think this is the last one. It's the one, I think it says, did we mention that for-profit entities could apply for this grant? I think they mean the CV one, but I'm not sure. Or would it be best for nonprofits to apply for CDBG grants?
Nonprofit entities. There is the possibility, and we can work with technical assistance exploring different ideas for partnerships. And we definitely know that there's been a lot of nice public in this COVID response, but nonprofits will be the focus for our funding. And just a note, because I see it multiple places in the chat. The PowerPoint will be available on our site today, and we will also post all of our different applications, the instructions, the YouTube link will be posted here. Our NOI form will be listed there. So there'll be a big space on our website where you can find all of your CDBG related goodness. And just to clarify, and I think this has been in the chat a couple times too, so the CDBG regular funds, like in our normal process, those funds become available July 1 of next year. For CDBG CV, which are emergency funds that HUD has given us for the response to coronavirus, the CDBG CV funds will be available March 1st, so that we've got that shortened timeline to try and be more responsive to those needs.
Okay, and Susie asked if a new project needs to be, if it's a standing project, does it need to have expanded services? Yes, for public services, if it is a program that's already existing, you need to show an increase or an expansion in that program. If it's new, of course, you apply as, but you do need to be cognizant of other programs that may be operating in the county that are similar. If they are providing those same services, you have to show that the need is more than's being met, and that you're going to increase the services in order to meet that filling in that need. Any other questions that were in the chat or in the Q&A that are good for public answer that have not been answered already?
So we had a question about posting our information to the general Athens-Clarke County site, and we can do that and work with our public information office to be sent out in general mailing lists that go out wider than just the HCD listserv. And I think we have a question about what is the maximum amount of funding available for one entity? Is there a budget request ceiling? And no, we do not have a ceiling on funds, but we do encourage everyone to be mindful of how many people are on this call today and the limited amount of funds available. There's also the 50% cash match for CDBG public services activities, and there is a leverage requirement or suggestion for our affordable housing, economic development, and public facilities projects. So just being mindful of those supporting resources necessary as well.
Also, to piggyback on what Haley is saying, if you look in the instruction manual near the end, it does give you an idea of what the past awards have been for the different types of activities. So it gives you kind of an idea or a threshold that you might want to consider for the average award that we give to those type of activities. It doesn't mean that you can't apply for more than that, but it does at least give you an understanding of our limitations and the types of funding that we provide on an annual basis.
Is there a match for the CV funds?
No, there is not a match for our CDBG CV funds, but when we review applications, we will take into account supporting resources, and that's a part of the application. And we encourage everyone to be mindful of the fact that for both our regular and CDBG CV COVID funding, all of those funds work on a reimbursement basis. So you will need to be able to incur costs before being reimbursed by the county. So I would factor that into your decision making when applying and formatting that budget.
No new questions being posed now?
All right. It says the challenge grant will provide additional funds for homeless. It was the question. Will it provide additional funds for homeless community economic development projects? The CDBG grant.
A public services application or an economic development application?
Well, it says for homeless community economic development projects. So it kind of sounds like that's both of those things.
I would encourage whoever put that question in the box to reach out to Joanne, Sarah, or Paisley to talk through the specifics of what that question might mean for your particular project.
Okay, well, if we have no further questions, then we look forward to receiving everyone's NOIs so that we can assist you with your pending applications. Once again, all of this will be available on the HCD website. And as Haley said, we will work with our Public Information Office to also get this on the Athens-Clarke County website. But there will be a video available that you can watch, or this video can be watched again should you choose. And please use the instruction manuals. A lot of your questions will be answered in that manual. It is meant to help you and to aid in easing this process as you go through it. And Haley, I will bat it back to you and let you close us out.
All right. Well,
I think
thank you.
I think we have one more question about the audit that they're looking for as one of the supplemental documents. You see that?
Normally, I don't see the question. Is it asking about the requirement to submit one?
It says, what kind of audits are you looking for as one of the supplemental documents? And it's from Kelsey Walker, if you want to provide more information.
Agencies that receive or that have over a certain amount of money are required to do or have an outside annual audit completed. And because we did not do monitoring so far this year, we're requiring that data to be provided. If you are completing an application, once we are in that process and you've submitted the NOI, we can be more specific with what that is, what you're required to attach based on your specific application. So that's kind of a very difficult question to answer overall. It really is going to be a little bit more specific to your application. Sorry,
Thank you for taking that, Melinda.
You're welcome. Sorry, I couldn't handle it better.
And I just wanted to say, I have gotten a couple of emails. I'm just checking now. If you had to call in or if you weren't able to participate, but you were able to watch it on the YouTube channel, you can email me and just let me know that you were here. So.
But just to clarify, this meeting was not a mandatory participation for funds like it has been in the past. We recognize that it's hard to meet in person these days. And so we're excited that we've been able to try out something new and hold this meeting virtually. And thank you for being our guinea pigs for trying that out and bearing with us through the technical difficulties. So if there are no other questions in the chat boxes or any other submissions, thank you for your time today. Please reach out to us with any questions and we will get all of those documents we've mentioned up on our HCD page today. Thank you, and we wish we could see you in person. Hope you're all staying safe.